This is part two. I think I talked too much, so it froze on me. So this is part two of what I want to say. So she continues. Miss Papaleo and accuses me of, she implies that I'm fraudulent somehow because, the donations account is actually full of trust money, which is a complete lie, an absolute and utter lie. She's committing defamation when she's making those false accusations. What, she's been talking to Lance Simon. It's the public. Lance Simon is the public, apparently. I asked VLSB. Lance Simon's going around, he's having chats with the police officers. Oh, thanks to the police. Kind of know he's a bit of a, your friend. And then he's also having a bit of chinwag with the VLSB. Lance Simon, he's got trouble tattooed across his tum-tums. And very little followers online. And people who follow him, they're pretty stupid too. So, amazing. Apparently Lance Simon has been having a bit of chinwag with the VLSB. Apparently he's the public. He's representative of the public. Lance Simon is the public. Hilarious. She goes on, appointed receiver. I correct her on that. And I love how the transcript goes received. She said receiver. Everyone heard it. I corrected it. He's not a receiver. He's not sitting there in my place. He's not there acting in my place. He is not Serene Teffa and never will be. So just a little message reminder there. Then, of course, I quoted the law, because there's something called the law that we need to apply, and Section 336 of the Uniform Law is very clear. You can't force people to deal with anyone. The manager, there has to be approval. This is not a question of law, and surprisingly, the judge, I think, under pressure, even though she acknowledged he can't really act without their instructions, she's saying that at least they need to communicate with him. Well, they don't want to communicate with him. They're free not to communicate with him. They cannot be forced to communicate with an agent of the VLSB, a statutory authority by the government, when we're taking action against the government. There's a clear conflict of interest here. And I think to try and perhaps protect the situation, she raises a question of law when there isn't really one, unfortunately. This is not a matter in dispute. And she says that they compel or they forfeit their right to privacy from the legal representative who stands in the shoes of you once you've lost your legal license. Well, I'm sorry, I said to her, Mr. Uljans is not me. Under the law, he's not appointed as a trustee, as some sort of receiver to become me. He's a manager, a separate legal entity than me. He's not me. I was the principal. He's not the principal. He's a manager. Okay, he's not me. But what effectively, he has to obtain those, approval of the clients. Now all the clients have gone. There is nothing, and I'm communicating to him the nature of what's going on, and he doesn't want to accept it because they want the client files. And this is where we get to the client files. So the judge says, you know what? Have the financial accounts, which we've already been dealing with the VLSB on that point. And Tom Rushford, no longer is he allowed to communicate with me, who we've been having discussions about converting my Excel spreadsheets. It was all new about how to account for the trust accounting for a class action, because it's just so many transactions. So, I was having very amicable dealings with the VLSB, working out on trying to move it into a trust accounting system that's affordable, that I could use. And of course I was learning, and, we were in a process of toing and froing with that. And I said, I've got no issues handing over that. There's the financial accounts. I mean, everything is A-okay, transparent. What does she say? It's neither here or there. Miss Papaleo comes out with the call. So you asking for the trust accounts, which you have the majority of them anyway. And then it's neither here or there. That's right. Of course it's neither here or there, because you don't want that information. You want client information. You want to know what I've been doing, and you want to know what I know. Well, you'll never know what I know. Because guess what? My files are not physical. Even most of my files are not electronic. My files are mental. That means my memory is pretty sharp. You'll have to lobotomize me to get that information. And I'll tell you, they want to imprison me and lobotomize me. I'm telling you that. They are on a mission. But so am I. And the world is not big enough for both of us. It's not big enough for Serene Tevaha if they're in it. And I'm talking here about the corruption, the criminals, the gamblers, the ramblers, and everyone else, as Johnny Cash says. God will cut you down. That's right. God will find you and he'll cut you down. So she points out a question of law, which is not a question of law. Apparently, can the clients refuse to deal with the manager? That's not a question of law. Can they be forced into dealing with the manager? That's not a question of law. It's called a question of piracy. Piracy is not allowed in this country. And this is not a question that needs to be determined. I thought it was pretty obvious, but I think she was just pretty overwhelmed at this point as to what to really do with what's going on here. What's going on here, Justice Forbes, is piracy, is hijacking my rights. It's hijacking my clients. It's hijacking the national class action that they know my legal arguments are very strong about. It's hijacking my legal mind. Because I'm an exceptional lawyer. I'm a solicitor as well as solicitor advocate. I represent people in court. I'm not afraid to speak up. They don't want me anymore in their little club. That's all right. You don't want me in your club. I never belonged there. Thank you for letting me know. But you don't control me. You don't control my entity. You don't control my identity. You don't control who I deal with or who I don't. You don't have a say in that. Not when I have not been shown to be a thug or a criminal, to be mismanaging the funds. But in fact, the criminals now are using the uniform law, and it's for all to see. It's an utter and simple disgrace. They're just burying themselves, discrediting themselves. I am diminishing public confidence in the administration of justice. No, I'm just simply exposing your failures in administrating the justice system, okay? Because you've usurped the system under your own false sense of control. You don't have control. You only have the illusions of control, and people, you mustn't be afraid. So this is what I want to say to the clients and to the public. Thank you so much for your support of me. Right now, I ask you not to send any more emails. I've had clients approach me where we'll streamline the affidavits, so it's not everyone, and I will be putting an email out explaining what the clients, some of the clients will take lead on that. I don't want to inundate the judge. I think she understands it. The reason why I did ask for that support for her, from my clients and the public, is because she hasn't given me any time. So now she's given me 7 days. It's still not enough. There is still no justification for what is occurring. This matter should be thrown out as vexatious and malicious, and I will be taking and spearheading personal action against the offenders. And it isn't just Fiona McClay. It isn't just Jacob Uljay. They're right at the bottom of this, occult. They're at the bottom. They don't even understand that they're just puppets that are being used. When their expiry date occurs, they don't realize that they're replaceable. Okay, so whoever is sitting kind of right up there, the head of the snake, who's pulling the strings, that's sort of what they're the ones that are orchestrating this. And then I'm talking here about some very nefarious organizations that are controlling strings. Family Court, Australian Federal Police, other police, state police, surveillance organisations, and prosecutions, CDPP and others. You know, and the Ombudsman is just a useless wonder, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say this, but, you know, my clients have reached out, the former clients at least, I could say technically, have reached out to the Ombudsman. I've reached out to the Ombudsman and I get a very patronising and demeaning response. So please stop. You don't need to do that anymore. You've done what you needed to do so far, and I really, really appreciate you assisting me. I can't even tell you how grateful I am. But the Ombudsman is not going to properly respond, only going to give a condescending response. Mr. Uljay has given a response that he doesn't give a shit, doesn't care about your instructions. He's saying, oh, well, I'm going to get your files anyway, whether you tell me you want to or not. So he's acting against Section 336 and he's putting that in writing to everyone. So we're going to put a strong affidavit on that. As I said, I don't believe there's a question of law. There's nothing in dispute here except that this is a vexatious, malicious, abusive process. These people are criminals. These people's time must be coming up soon, because we cannot continue like this as a society. We must stand up, you know, and speak up and not have fear. So, but, you know, I understand you all want to help, but right now I think, you know, you've provided all that support and I'm so grateful. The judge really has a lot of emails, and I will coordinate an affidavit. I'll write what some of the clients have come forward and want to be a voice for others, to preserve their anonymity so she can hear, not just from me, but from the clients directly, in terms of the fact that, you know, there is no justification there to do that. The detention towers has moved to another lawyer. All of the Cops for COVID Truth have moved to another lawyer. The APRA complaint has moved to another lawyer, just for the time being, okay, because, you know, these people need protection from the government. You know, and they've obviously now, you know, extremely worried for themselves, and what the implications are. And I have been working with other solicitors, so, you know, it's not just me doing this work. There's other solicitors who are obviously helping out and doing that. And what, they're going to cancel everyone's license who wants to question government. You know, I may have been more flamboyant and, you know, very flashy about the way I talk or the way that I am, but that's my personality, and this is not a character assassination. You know, if I'm a bubbly person and I'm great at campaigning, you know, this is my strong point. You know, these are things that I'm, you know, really good at doing, which is helping people and caring for people. And it's really important to understand that Serene Tevaha, Advocate Me, is not just a legal practice. It's an advocacy service. I'm a public investigator. I investigate things. You know, I do research. I teach people how to stand up for themselves. You know, this is a skill that we forget. I teach people how not to have fear, to be fearless. You know, this is not legal advice. This is life advice. You know, this is about us understanding the legal information that's around us, but also that we're humans. And so my advocacy service will not stop. My advocacy service will continue. My ability to advocate, me running campaigns will continue. So Cops for COVID Truth will continue. APRA Whistleblower Contempt will continue. The national class action will continue, but in a different form. Right now, everybody wants their refunds back because they've lost trust and faith in the trust accounting system. They don't want to, you know, some don't want to continue. And so we need to reassess, because right now they've pulled it down, they've sabotaged it, but we'll pull it back together. And I will be a client. I will be a member. I will be a group member. What, they're going to stop me from giving myself legal advice? Wow. This is the time that we're living in. This is an indicator of the real crisis that we are at. And I really hope that Justice Forbes really reflects. I mean, you know, do you want to sacrifice me, Justice Forbes? Because this is what it is. This is a spiritual sacrifice. You're a really lovely lady. I could see that. in my interaction with you, but I also see the development of the police becoming corrupt, the judges becoming corrupt, because they engage in these rituals of sacrifice. You have to do something that's really bad. You have to attack somebody so that you could show yourself to be part of the occult group. I'm no little lamb. I'm not a lamb. And lambs shouldn't be sacrificed anyway. I'm not a sacrifice for anybody. I'm free. I'm autonomous. I love people. I care for justice. What I'm saying is not controversial. I'm talking about proportionality. There is nothing in what I've said is controversial. Now I want to have a few words about the media. They are despicable. From the January, for the Age, and the Sydney Morning Herald, Harriet Alexandra, she again got Lance Simon, an anti-scammer expert. Guys, you just defamed me. And you're on my list, and I can't believe how many people do I have to have on the list? I gave a talk, a rally speech saying, corruption must be taken down and blood on the streets for peace. But because the police are pointing the gun at everybody, the police are pointing the gun at grandmas and elderly women, saying, we're going to throw you in the wall. Criminal prosecutions starting against grandmas. It's the police who are pointing the finger and wanting to shed our blood. And I'm saying blood for peace. I'm saying that we will not be sacrificed for nothing. You need to stand up and be counted. And all of a sudden, take her down. She's an extremist. She's an extremist. She's an extremist because she's saying we need to stand up for ourselves. I'm an extremist because I'm saying, we've worked out the science on the masking. It doesn't work. It says it in the thing, doesn't protect. I didn't say this, scientists did. All of a sudden everyone's conditioned, because the government says so, then it must be true. And I don't want to deal with Pfizer and AstraZeneca. They're fucking the biggest thugs of the century. Pfizer 156 years old. I'm certified organic. I'm like the biggest lefty you can meet. I'm being accused of being right-wing. Oh my God, I'm fucking lefty. I live in freaking Preston Reservoir. I love beetroot lattes and cinnamon over. And all these lefties are attacking me. What the fuck? You're Marxist. You're not lefties. You're like social Marxist. That's what you are. You all love government. And then the articles that come up, like the ABC, are you guys idiots or something? You guys are the biggest morons of the century. She writes the detention towers is in question. There was nothing mentioned about the detention towers. It's moved in as a lawyer. What is the question on that? The money is of the detention towers. There's nothing in the trust account of the detention towers. They don't listen. They don't read the script. And I'll tell you why they don't read the script. There is no more reporting right now. The journalists are all on Twitter. Now let's talk about social media. Twitter. And they say tweets, please. Only birds tweets. The bird tweets. The birds tweet. And they're so cute. And they fly. But we're not tweeting. Twitter. You're on Twitter because you're a twit. Okay? It's a twit, not a tweet. You're a twit. A Twitter. It's not Twitter. It's Twitter. Because when you're on Twitter, they condition you to become a twit. And I'll tell you how they condition you to become a twit. You're not allowed to have more than X characters. So you have all these academics and politicians and journalists. How are we going to fit what we want to say in these characters? So you go on. I tried it once and I'm like, what are people saying? How are you communicating? You're just butchering the English language. Complete and utter butchering of the English language. And hashtags. Did you like my hashtag? My hashtag is like super cool. Hashtags. I never got hashtags. What the hell are hashtag this and hashtag that? oh, you just want to become like, stream it, make it more likely to be visible. I don't give a shit about Twitter. I am not a twit, so I refuse to use Twitter. And I highly recommend. Now, most of the journalists that are writing these articles about me, and by the way, the judge didn't give them any right to client information, and ABC, oh, client information orders, you absolute twits. Twits on Twitter. It's like, give me the information. Very quickly, David Edscourt calls me up. Have you seen my videos? Have you read my website? No, I don't need to. I know all I need to know about you. What? From Twitter? And then Instagram. That's right. Instant gram. A gram of Coke. A shot. A hit. Because you become an addict when you use Instagram. Now you can work it out. And Facebook is just your mugshot. Facebook is our ability to surveil you. We know everything you think through Facebook. So Facebook, the book they keep on your face, it's not your Facebook, it's their Facebook. It's the Insta shot that you get, the Instagram and the fix and the twit that they make you on Twitter. Get with the program, folks. Get with the program. If you want to do anything good for you today, get off that social media. Start interacting with your neighbours. Offer your time through volunteering instead of watching Netflix. And open your eyes to what is happening around you. Find your voice. Lose your fear. That's how you're going to succeed in freeing yourself from those shackles. I will continue stronger than ever. My vision is a world that is a world of freedom, a world where children are not abused, where women do not suffer, where men are treated with respect, where we treat each other with humanity, a world of medical freedom, a world of intellectuals that can thrive, a world that is not fixated by failing monetary systems and failed resource use, a world where it doesn't hurt animals, and we can perhaps find a better way of interacting with nature and getting our nutrients without, let's say, hurting animals in that process. A world that really has a vision for something far greater, for something far better, for our own survival. That's the world that I want to create. And that's not going to be just in the legal courtrooms. That's about campaigning for to be beyond those systems. I'm an advocate, I'm a warrior, I'm a revolutionary, and I'm not afraid to say that. I'm not ashamed to present myself as that. If I have leadership qualities, why can't I be a leader? What, because I'm a woman, I'm young, I'm ethnic, I'm flamboyant, I'm allowed to be those things. And with all my brothers and sisters, I want us to make a better world. A world where there isn't no classist system, where we are apolitical, where we look beyond politics, gender divides, religious divides. We look beyond all of these things, where we can truly respect each other's faiths and realize that we are free to have an opinion that differs as long as we have respect for each other. That's the kind of world that I want to create. But no, that's controversial apparently. And that's not controversial at all. What is controversial is the fear that they have us bound to, and the sheer and utter control that is exercised through them usurping systems of justice and laws that are supposed to be for the well-being of everybody. So watch the space again for the clients and the public. It's fine for you not to continue with with that. There's a change.org petition, which that's great if you want to sign it, which I will link in the video below, which I'm so appreciative of. I'm so appreciative of everything that everyone's done. I will put the message out more clearly in terms of the next steps. I'm bruised, but I'm not broken. and you know, I'm hurt, but I'm not damaged. I've been victimized, but I'm not a victim. And I want to see a better world for everyone around me. Even those who are in my opposition, I do want to see a better world for all of us. That we really can come to the table and do away with this adversarial systems and do away with pain and suffering. And you know, the benefits of living in this world should not be appropriated with very few people. This COVID pandemic has created far more benefits to very few people to the disadvantage of many others. We need to wake up and realize that there is a bigger political game being played here. And we need to be aware of that. Even if we want to be apolitical, we need to understand where this is coming from, and we need to move away from this, you know, Democrat and Republic or Labour and Liberal, this two-way system. This is just a farce. This is an illusion, okay, to divide us. We don't need to be divided. Okay, I'm rambling on, but thank you, and we will be putting out some more information very soon. Thank you for your support.